Hi everyone, hope all of you are doing super well, and in this video I'll be giving you some information on what is strategy analysis. And this information is again taken from the BABOK guide, and without any delay let's get into it. So first, getting into what is a strategy. So a strategy defines the most effective way to apply the capabilities of an enterprise in order to reach a desired set of goals and objectives. So we have so much of capabilities within our enterprise, and the enterprise also has goals and objectives. So when we define a strategy, the strategy needs to be a very effective way to apply all the capabilities that is within that organization and enterprise to achieve the goals and objectives that it is looking for. So that, in simple terms, that is what a strategy is. And if you ever worked with a strategic plan, a product vision, a business case document, or you would have dealt with product roadmaps or any other artifacts that's related to kind of reaching a goal or objectives, you can consider them to be as strategies. Okay, so you would have knowingly or unknowingly you would have worked on a strategy, and if you're aware of a strategy, then well and good. So, as part of strategy analysis, what does business analysts do is as part of this phase? So, the strategy analysis, it describes the business analysis work that must be performed to collaborate with stakeholders. Okay, so as a business analyst, you don't have to come up with a strategy. Okay, your main task is and work is to collaborate with stakeholders. Okay, and when you collaborate with stakeholders, you bring everyone onto the team, onboard them. The team would be able to focus and identify a need of strategic or tactical importance. So what is this need? This need is a business need. Okay, that need only will drive you to create a strategy or a tactical approach. Okay, so you just don't go and create strategies out of the blues. There is a need that requires you to create a strategy. Okay, and the next one is it enables the enterprise to address that need. So this collaboration is going to enable the enterprise to address that need. How? By creating a strategy. And the next one is align the resulting strategy for the change. Okay, so whatever you do as a business analyst or whatever role you play, alignment is a key thing that you always need to keep on top of your mind. Whatever it is, see that it's aligned. And when you create a strategy as well, there's no doubt in this as well. This strategy always has to be in alignment with the business need. If it's not going to be in alignment with the business need, then it's a waste. Because if it's going to solve some other problem and not the actual business need, it's going to be a waste of effort and time and cost and resources. So, with this, the business analyst values spectrum. Okay, so if you see the business analyst, usually we think about requirements gathering, elicitation, and then so forth, whatever processes come up after that. The strategy analysis part comes prior to even the requirement analysis and design definition. Okay, so the strategy analysis is all about understanding the need and the solution scope. So we know the need is the business need. What is the need that wants us or forces us to come up with a strategy? Solution scope is understanding what is the scope or the context within which I will have an opportunity to build solutions. Okay, so you can build a solution within a particular scope. Okay, if it's totally out of scope, then you would not be able to build a solution, because if certain things are going to be out of your scope, you need to consider that when you define your solution. Okay, so as part of strategy analysis, you define the strategy by understanding the business need and the scope, and then you would go into the requirements analysis and the design definitions, and then you would take it on to the solution evaluation, which is basically you building a prototype or proof of concept, building the pilot or the beta versions, and then moving into the operation side of things. So if you see, there is a potential, okay, for a desired outcome, and if you see at the end, you get the actual outcome. So you compare the potential and the actual outcomes, and then you would be able to redefine and explore what would be the max the possible tweaks or changes that can be made in order to deliver the maximum value to the stakeholders and the business. Okay, so this is where the strategy analysis comes into picture. So as part of strategy analysis, you need to focus on defining the future and the transitional states. Okay, so first of all, you need to define what is the future state. When you know your destination, then you would be able to understand which route you should be taking towards, or which steps you need to take in achieving that destination. So you always need to define the future as well as the transitional states, because you might have a destiny, for example, very silly example, Mars or Jupiter, but the transitional states, the steps taken might be very less, so you may not even know what step to take. It might be very unclear. So it's very important that you understand your destination first, what is the future state, and then you can appropriately, you'll be able to define the transitional states. Okay, so the next one is you need to define the work needed to achieve that business need. Okay, so you just don't say this is the business need and this is what we are looking for and just leave it there. You need to come up with a strategy that says these are all the different workable things that need to be done in order to achieve that strategy. And the last one is discover and explore possible solutions that will be effective and valuable to the business and its stakeholders. So, this is a continuous process. You always have to keep discovering and exploring what are the different solutions, what are the different alternatives that we have. Let's say your strategy, you define certain steps, but they are not feasible. Okay, they are not, maybe because of different factors, you won't be able to take up that particular solution. So you always need to keep discovering and exploring other possible solutions that will give the maximum value to who? To the stakeholders and the business. So one thing to keep in mind is this strategy analysis, it should be performed as a business need is identified. Okay, so it's an ongoing process. Okay, and it's an ongoing activity that will access any changes in the need, context, and also the information required for the changes. Okay, so why do we say that the business, while the business need is being formulated and identified, strategy analysis also needs to go in parallel. Okay, the reason why is sometimes there is a business need. And for that business need, if you keep thinking about what are the steps that need to be taken to achieve that desired outcome, sometimes, as I said, if there are no unclear steps, if there are no clear steps, if there are going to be certain uncertainties, or if it might not it be even possible to achieve that desired outcome, depending on different factors that the businesses might revolve over, sometimes stakeholders might take a decision of not even taking up that business need or implementing a change. So that's why it's very important when the business need is being identified, strategy analysis also needs to go in parallel. And as I said, it's an ongoing activity that assesses any changes in the need, context, and information. So let's say you have a need and you understood what is the context and scope within which you can, decide a solution, and you come up with some, you based on the information you get the information that is required for building up some changes. Okay, these are the changes that's supposed to be done. What happens if the need is slightly changed, slightly tweaked? At that time you would have to even change your strategy as well. Okay, so in this context, it should always be a continuous and ongoing assessment to understand the need, context, and the information needed to perform that particular change. And the last one is strategy analysis knowledge area. So, what are the knowledge areas associated to this particular strategy analysis? So, as we know, first we need to analyze the current state. As part of analysis of the current state, you need to understand the business need and also the way the enterprise functions today. When I say today, on that day of analysis, how, or that time period of analysis. Okay, so when you understand the business need and what, how does the function organization function in that particular period, and how doesn't, the business, they are not able to achieve that business need, then only this sets a context for you and a base for you to understand the as is state where we are. So once you have the as a state, you need to even define what is the future state. So as part of those collaborations, we would the team would identify what is that desired state, that future state that I am looking at, and you need to define goals and objectives, okay, to achieve that future state. Okay, if I want this future state, this is going to be my goal and objectives. And based on that, you also need to define what parts of the enterprise need to change. With every change there would be some effect, someone needs to change, someone has to do something. So you need to come up with that clear picture of what are all the changes that need to be done, who and all need to implement that change, or who all need to, kind of change their operations or functions or their processes a bit. So all this is defined as part of the future state. The next one is when, let's say, you are now looking at this is my current state and this is my future state. Let's say that everything is very clear, there's doesn't seem to be much of uncertainties and stuff like that. Then you need to do define the change strategy. Okay, and you would perform a gap analysis. So as part of the change my okay the change strategy, you need to kind of do perform a gap analysis. And what is this gap analysis? Okay, you need to find out the gap between the current and the future state. Okay, and based on that, you would be able to analyze and assess the options that would be available or possible to achieve that future state. And when you analyze and come up with these options, you can recommend and you can check, the team can see which would be the highest value option that would help us to achieve that desired state. But let's say that there's so much of uncertainties, there's, like, you're not very sure of how you're going to tactically or strategically going to address that particular desired outcome, and you feel that there's a lot of uncertainty, risk could be involved. At that time, you need to do a risk assessment. And what you'll do as part of that is you need to understand what are all the uncertainties, where all uncertainties are going to come up from. And you need to even consider the effect of those uncertainties. It's not just identifying uncertainties, but you even need to understand the effect and the impact those uncertainties would create. As part of that, you would be able to understand and even recommend the actions to address those risks and uncertainties. Okay, so this is all about strategy analysis. So if you didn't know anything what was strategy analysis, I hope that this video gave you some information on what strategy analysis is. So if you like this video, please do give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to this channel for more business analysis information and stuff. And do share this video with all your friends, whoever you feel it would benefit. And also do share your feedbacks. Thank you.